Spider!
Let's do a live bait tackle talk on Tuna No Crust. If you haven't watched my nighttime gear setup, it's right here. Take a look. Otherwise, let's talk about when you're on a full day San Diego boat all the way up to like a 5-day or even like a 7-day boat. What gear do you need when you're fishing live bait? So I'm going to start off and tell you there are 3 absolute mandatory setups you're going to need. You're going to need a heavy, a medium, and a light. Your heavy setup. If you are going on these multi-day trips, reverse 1.5 days out of San Diego or Orange County and Long Beach, and you're going for bluefin, you already have your heavy, right? You've got your rail rod that you are fishing for your nighttime knife jig. What do you do during the day? You simply cut off your bite leader, you tie on some 80-pound fluoro, and there is your heavy setup. Whether you are setting it up for sinker rig or you're just going to fly line a heavy bait. What do you need in addition to your heavy is a nice medium. You need a 40 to 50 pound bait setup. And then, based on the bait and the size of the fish and what we're catching, you're going to need a 25 to 30 pound setup. What do I take? Obviously, you guys know my rail rod is a United Composite Viper 7.6 on a Macaira 16. My 40-pound setup is my Talica 12 with 65-pound braid. This allows me to change the line I have on this rod anywhere from, let's call it 30 pounds all the way to 60 pounds. All you're doing is cutting your 6-foot bite leader that you have and tying on whatever size fluoro you need to put on there. On my light setup, I use a Talica 10. You can go with the single speed. I have a 2-speed, and it's just because it's just what I bought back then. This has got 40-pound braid, same exact thing. The beautiful thing about these new age conventional reels is that we are filling it with braid. So you've got an excessive amount of line capabilities. So what do? You run 40-pound braid, 65-pound braid, 100-pound braid, and then you can tie whatever leader you need that is appropriate for that type of fishing. My Talica 10, it's got 40-pound braid. I can tie 20 to 40-pound fluorocarbon on it. Same thing goes obviously with my Talica 12. I'm running 65, so I'm probably not going to put anything heavier than 60-pound fluoro on here. And then same thing obviously is going to go with my Macaira. Now, these are your 3 mandatory setups, in my opinion, that you're going to need fishing offshore. If you're kind of a gear geek like me, well, you take a little bit more, right? So what do? I've got my single speed star drag Trinidad 14 on the old school brown Terramar rod. This is my 20-pound setup. That is like my favorite Yellowtail school tuna Dorado setup. It is just so much fun to catch fish with that. And then if you're going on a 7-day and you're going bass fishing, you throw a plastic on here and you're like set. This is like my favorite setup. It is so much fun to fish with. Then I've got my Talica 10. So this is my 20. This ends up being my 30. My Talica 12 is my 40. This is my 80. Kind of got a hole, right? Well, if you're like me, then you take another rod, right? So my Macaira 15T has, I think, 80-pound braid on it, and I fished that for 60. What does that mean? This is now my 80-pound sinker rig, okay? What's a sinker rig? That's when you have a thicker line and you're dropping it down lower in the zone because the fish are deeper. You're running a bigger hook. You're going to nose hook your sardine. You're going to let your line down slowly, and so that way your bait's not helicoptering on the way down, and you're fishing a deeper zone, okay? There are 2 ways to fish a sinker rig, okay? You can fish a rubber band method, which means that you're going to tie your fluorocarbon directly to your hook, and then for the 6 feet above it, you're going to tie your torpedo sinker with a rubber band and attach it to your line. The way that I personally prefer to do a sinker rig is what we call the drop shot method. And what that is, same exact thing. We're going to tie our fluorocarbon to our 3-aught hook, and then below it, I'm going to tie 2 feet of 20-pound line, something that I've stripped off one of my other lines. It's not going to be used for anything other than holding on to your weight, and then eventually it's going to drop off because you're using a lighter line class. You're going to want to use a ringed hook when you do that drop shot method, and I will attach a photo of what I mean in terms of how I tie it. On my medium setup, I'm going to be using a Muteki circle 1-aught or 2-aught, okay? When I get to my light setup, I'm using a size 2 or a size 4 Muteki. I'm a Muteki fan. These are strong. You don't want to use the hybrid because that's a lighter wire and you have the risk of bending that hook. If you're fishing Dorado, Yellowtail, you don't really need to do a circle. You can go to your standard Mustad J hooks. I use that a lot on my 20-pound setup. I'm getting ready to go on the Polaris Supreme on Thursday. These are what I'm taking, because right now in San Diego, the yellowfin have worked their way up, Dorados are making a showing, and bluefin are simply being bluefin. So what's the plan? We're going to probably go look for bluefin at night, stay in that zone. The weather gets a little snotty or the fish are gone. Maybe we work south. Not sure. That is Aliar's decision, who we trust all of our bluefin fishing and everything on the Polaris Supreme with. So stay tuned for that video. Otherwise, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. My hooks are Mewtwo's. And just bring a bunch of Flora. You don't need to have them pre-rigged because you don't know what you're doing. That's what I do. I have my braid. I take 7 different line classes of fluorocarbon, and I listen to what the captain and the crew is talking about, what their plan is, because they are out there every day fishing, right? I'm going there for the first time I fished in a month. So I have no idea what's biting. I have no idea what area we're going to, and I have no idea what kind of fish we're seeing. But I'm going to listen to Carson or Julian, Ben, Nash, or Aliar in terms of what they are seeing and what we need to use. So stay tuned for that video. Let me know if you take anything else. Am I taking too much? Am I not taking enough? Talk to you guys soon.
Bye.